What is up, comic fan? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday night, so that means this is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. And there's a lot to get into tonight, but before we do, check this out. Tonight's show is sponsored by Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check them out if you're in the mood for any exclusive retailer variants, high-end ratios, placing those FOC orders. They got some of the best artists in the game working for them on a regular basis. You can also follow them on Instagram and Facebook. And if you're looking to get anything cleaned and pressed, hit up Justin's Comics on Instagram. Be sure to use that promo code WeAreLegion and take advantage of that buy two, get one free special. All right, let's bring in the guests for tonight. We've got my main man with pots and pans, Ryan. What is up, brother?
Howdy, howdy.
How's it going?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you here. I missed you last week, my friend. And Chris, this has been hard getting all three of us together at one time, but Chris is still making his way home from C2E2 and all that stuff. But we do have another one of our good friends, the most dastardly devil I can find on the YouTubes. We got Poke Hand Joe up in here.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's shaking?
What is shaking, bacon? Oh, man. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you here. I wasn't sure when I messaged you. I was trying to be nice about it. I'm like, hey, I can imagine you're probably tired. I'm not even sure if you're even home yet because you've been in Chicago. But I'm super excited and happy that you're able to hop on tonight.
Yeah, you know me, man. Anything for you. Wife can only take so much of me anyway, so it's fine.
Good to spread you out, huh?
Yeah.
It's good that you spread like butter then.
All things in moderation.
Yeah, I'm not even drinking tonight because I think I'm still drunk from C2E2. I'm drinking water.
Fair enough.
Oh, Lordy. Oh, so what exciting news. First off, if I can real quick, I just want to thank everybody that I saw at C2E2, both content creators, both fans. It was a blast meeting all of you and, doing a little mischievous stuff as well as getting comic books and stuff. And I really appreciate this community. Thank you all.
Yeah, it looked like a total blast seeing the our little corner of the comic book community all together. It broke my heart that I wasn't able to be there. This kid just learned how to feed the dog. He just feeds the dog.
By the way, just so everybody knows, comics, he's really not that nice of a guy. He's probably the biggest jerk in the entire group.
Who?
Nick.
Oh.
I'm joking. No, that dude's a sweetheart. It was good times. And I should be having a haul video out soon. I got some good stuff.
Oh, nice. Was there a lot of good I guess like back issues and pull box stuff, or?
Yeah, there was. There was a lot of diving involved. 2 books that I went there to find, I just couldn't get. We just couldn't see eye to eye on price. So I ended up taking that money, and I finally got a Transformers #1.
Ooh,
right. Fancy. And then some just weird Golden Age stuff called Captain Tootsie, which was awkward. Yeah. And I finally got a Wolverine banana cover. Right. and a bunch of other stuff, just tons of stuff.
Nice.
So, yeah, we'll do a haul video for everybody out there so you can relish in jealousy.
Yeah, I saw a lot of little live streams Chip was doing, and I think everyone was kind of cuffing their purchases. Like no one was showing off too much of what they were getting. I think because a lot of them, I'm showing them off in videos later. But
yeah, that's all content.
Yeah,
the problem with being in a group of content creators.
Saying, you still show it off later and get into detail on it. Let's say hey to some of the people in the chat real quick. We got Ruben Guzman up in there. What is going on? We're getting closer to kicking off his he's kind of priming his channel to start pumping content here soon. But in January, he's going to be kicking off with his schedule and his routine. I'm excited for that.
Thanks so much.
Beckerman up in the chat. What is going on? I've been talking to him a lot today. I know he wishes he could have made it to the convention.
Yeah.
Mars Comics, what is going on? Hello to you. We got Flo Dameron in the chat. What is up? Mr. Pocan Joe's in the chat. Robert, what is going on, man?
Love that dude.
Warlord, what's going on, man? What is up? We got Paul Rogers up in there.
Oh, Paul.
What is going on, Michael? How are you doing tonight?
Right.
Digger Jim, he just went detecting and found didn't score too big, but he found some stuff.
Cool.
Hey yo, hashtag I miss Legion. Yeah, I miss you too, man. That's one of my life goals to get to meet Nick in person, like for real. And I'm excited because he's got a package coming my way. He took it a little personally when he asked me for that Sweaty Richard variant of that Robin comic, and I sent it to him. He asked for it. Like he offered me all kinds of money to get him that book, and I told him, "Don't worry about it. It's only a $3 book, anyways." And I got it for him. So he said he's going to send me a revenge package. So that was supposed to be here yesterday, but it unfortunately hit that black hole in the USPS that I have around here, where it's just package arriving late. Forget that it's even coming, and it'll be there one day. That's actually what my notifiers tell me. Just forget it.
The one downside to living in the Bermuda Triangle, I guess.
You're right.
Exactly. Having a great time not being at C2E2. Not. Yeah. a lot of FOMO was happening for me. But life is good. It has been a fantastic week. And this was like the last little run of off days I get until the holidays are all over with. So I've been enjoying them.
Nazio's in the room too. What's up, Nazio? Love that dude.
What is going on, Lily? Cops are chasing Joe right now. I can believe that. What is going on, Bart? How are you doing?
All right.
Architectural foam panels and columns. What is up? Transformers #1. Nice.
That's a name there. I'm gonna have to check that channel out.
Yeah.
Right.
Joe does a little bit of a projecting as well. A lot less foam, a lot more explosives.
Fire.
Yeah, what is going on, Ignacio? Yeah, C2E2 is really a stretch, man. Like I'm down here and like the only thing south or east than I am is Florida. You know, that's a huge
Some of you guys were talking about maybe doing instead of doing C2E2 again, doing the big one in Florida.
Yeah, that's what Nick had suggested a while back.
Yeah, I would like to try to make something next year. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, Warlord was there. I saw him posting about it as well. That was awesome. Yeah, for me, like I'm dude, I love the idea of cons, but it's just with how life is for me, like making the plans and the arrangements and setting aside to do it as well. It's just it becomes just thinking about it. The idea already is just like hard pass, hard pass. But when they're closer and when they're a lot more low key, like I don't know, that's kind of more exciting for me just with how things are. But I was going to go to Heroes this year. Me and my dad had talked about it because we went to Heroes a few years back and met Stan Lee and all that good stuff. And that's a very comic book focused convention. They don't have as many of the celebrity bells and whistles, but it's kind of what I'd be more interested in is going back and sitting in panels with like the creators over at DC and stuff and listening to them talking like for an hour or whatever. Like that was just a blast. Last time I went was during Scott Snyder's Batman run during New 52. So the Court of Owls stuff was hot and heavy. We were sitting in the panel where they were like giving out like Easter eggs of what's to come with that story. And y'all know how like well received that is even this many years later. It was huge when it was happening.
Right. Nice.
And Becker said MegaCon in Orlando. What is going on, Chop? Yeah, that was a big one to hit first. And was it as big as it normally is, or was it kind of still affected by stuff? Because there was a good crowd there, but I don't know.
Yeah, so we noticed there wasn't as much there. The big booths weren't there. DC and Marvel weren't there with their usual big displays. There was still a lot there. You got to think of this in perspective, right? So this was literally any local con that you have. It would literally fit into the corner of this building that's in there. So they still had plenty of stuff. You weren't missing out, but it did seem less crowded and a few less booths than normal.
Yeah, it was the building itself, like the actual building was ginormous. Like when Chip was leaving to go pick Nick up, he went to one end, he's like, crap, this isn't my exit. And spent like 10 minutes crossing over just to get to another door, to spend 5 minutes getting outside. Like the building was huge. Like we don't even
I'm
have.
gonna do I'm gonna work on a video. Hopefully tomorrow, I'll have it out pretty quickly. My walkthrough. I'll probably just do the hall and a walkthrough, put some music, and I'm probably gonna have to speed it up to about 5 times just so you can actually see it all.
That'd be pretty cool. I'm expecting to start seeing a lot of those videos popping up this week, like walkthroughs and hauls. I'm more interested to see what everybody picked up.
Yeah.
Thankfully, because like I said, Chip Gettler he was a trooper. He knew everyone, like he legit knew everyone couldn't be there, so he went the extra mile and made sure in the convention he went live in the evening time when everyone was hanging out. He went live and was like interacting with the chat so that they can say hey to people there and everything. It was, man. Yeah, I know it sounds corny, but it was very nice of him to do that. You know what I mean? Yeah, Jim said it looked bigger than Baltimore, was it?
Yeah, it was easily 3 times bigger than Baltimore Comic Con.
Wow. Nick said it was huge. So moving on from a little bit of the T2E2 stuff, because I really can't relate too much of it, but getting on to some of the other topics, like I mentioned, y'all going in this, the new Sonic trailer dropped a couple of days ago that absolutely looks awesome. So that movie, that was a blast of a movie. You know, I played Sonic as a kid. I'm not crazy entrenched in the Sonic culture or fandom or whatever, but I do appreciate and enjoy the character. And I love the first movie. And the second movie looks like it's really leaning into the best parts of the first movie. It looks more action-packed right from the get-go. Like you can tell from the trailer, like you're seeing clips from the beginning of the movie kind of thing versus toward the end of it. And the beginning of it with Sonic running through the city and everything looked like the end of the first movie. And we got 2 characters that they show in the trailer. We got Tails showing up to help him out, who is an after-credit character in the first one. And Knuckles shows up. So there's some powerhouse moments shown in the trailer even. I'm excited for it.
Nice.
I know, Ryan, you've been reading some of the back issues in recent months, haven't you?
Yeah, I've read a couple of the IDW comics. I grew up on Sonic the game. I watched some of the cartoons when I was coming up. So, I know a lot of the Sonic stuff, but I'm not in the fandom culture aspect of it, you know. I didn't see Sonic when it came out. I really didn't have many expectations for it. It seems like a thing that would be easy to fail on. And then when I finally watched it, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't think that the first one is amazing or great, but it was good. And it had a lot of potential if they just tweaked some things for the next one. And so I have been pretty excited and anticipating the sequel. And all I saw was a poster, but it looks like it's going to deliver on what I expect of it. So pretty excited.
And of course, Jim Carrey's back looking the part like he did at the end of the first one. So the first one, like I mentioned before, it just seemed like a full-length origin, getting to the iconic parts of it, the recognizable parts of it. And we're seeing James Marsden returning as well. So they're not doing one of those weird sequels where Sonic's starting from scratch with an unrecognizable character or actor. So hopefully all of that stuff that kind of slowed down the pacing of Sonicking in the first movie will already be established and we can just get right into it.
So I'm watching the trailer right now, getting caught up on it, and It's great. I love Jim Carrey in this already. It's great.
The big mustache. Yeah, the
It's
trailer's
ridiculous.
nonstop. Knuckles at the end, like that caught me off guard. I didn't see that coming. That was
Yeah, I vaguely remember playing Sonic the Hedgehog when it first came out on Sega Genesis, right?
Mhm.
And like it was just one of those games you play every now and then. Like I had friends that were like that. There's a deep mythos behind that too.
Mhm.
You know, with the comic book runs, the stories, and all that. So yeah, I enjoyed the first movie. I'll enjoy this too. I'm sure. The
Yeah.
plane, they got the stupid plane in there.
And there's the cartoon that they came on Saturday morning TV and stuff. Like Finn watches that on TV because he watched the first movie and liked it, so showed him the cartoon, and that's the most where I've got my experience with like the side characters. Like I've got Sonic 2 on my Sega Game Gear because I'm a vintage gamer. You know, I don't game a lot. When I do, I can't wait on it to load or I lose interest. So that I know Tails from that, but Knuckles I just know from the cartoon really. So I'm excited to see him. But seriously, be right back. Hawkeye episode 4 dropped. We got more swordsmen. We got more other stuff too. Joe, and I don't know if you watched it, Ryan. I know Joe watched it.
Yeah.
So give us a rundown of what this episode entailed.
So kind of this episode, I'm not really sure what we're going to be. I still don't know what we're doing with the swordsman. Like, is it going to be a thing that you got to wait till season 2 before he kind of breaks loose? And because we know he's fake, right? He's just a fake guy. So hopefully he becomes badass or something along those lines. Of course, Hawkeye gets his sword back, and we're starting to really kind of dive into, you know, some of your past choices, good or bad, always seem to come back as bad, regardless of how you justify them. And that's really what we're dealing with Hawkeye here in the new generation. So I like that idea, right? Because, you know, things don't go away. They always have a way of coming back around. So I like that they're kind of touching on that kind of stuff. I think Kate Bishop, I guess is what we're calling her. That's an annoying character. I'm sorry. That thing, it's nuts. Just shut up and do something cool. And I did call it, and I called it on your show that they were going to bring in Black Widow's sister to come kill him in the episode. I didn't think they would do it this early. But yeah, she's in there fighting them on the rooftops and all that stuff. And I was just like, yeah, okay, cool.
She was dressed like the vampire assassins from Blade 2. I don't know if y'all remember when Nina and her 2 other vampires came into Blade's warehouse and they're going rafter to rafter. Like it's just like that. No different.
Like that. So yeah, so now we got our connectivity to the rest of the shows in the universe. So we'll see what happens. But I liked it overall.
Yeah, as you were talking about, it was all coming back to me because, like I mentioned, I watched it. Like that's part of my Wednesday evening routine. Now that Stargirl's over, we just replaced it with Hawkeye. But the kids were amped up to like 13 when we were trying to watch it. I was losing so much. Like the whole conversation with the swordsman and Kate's mom on the couch in the beginning, I got none of that conversation. And I planned zero in going back and trying to get the conversation or rewatch any of it. But the fight at the end was cool when they thought they were sneaking into an apartment, but it was for a deaf person, so the alarms were specific. Yeah. But the fight at the end was pretty cool. I don't really know what else there was to like really bring.
I like the constant referencing of jokes towards trick arrows because that's always kind of a funny thing. So they kind of always have like an underlining joke with trick arrows, which is funny.
Mm-hmm. I really didn't like them going back to the LARPers because I think that was one of the weakest parts that really, for me, that really drug down the series when Hawkeye went to reclaim his costume from the people that were doing the live action role playing because it was too much. Like in 20 years from now, people are going to look at this show as campy as like Adam West Batman's looked at. Like people who lived through that love that show. I love that show, but most people, the general audience, can't watch stuff that old and appreciate it. It's too specific for its time or too campy. This show leans heavy into camp. Like it goes from super serious family stuff and dark moments of your past where you're literally slaughtering people because like you just couldn't deal with your guilt and your loss.
Yeah,
like, there's a great story to be told there. You're dealing with martial arts, which normally is like discipline, focus, like all these like specific characteristics and traits that come along with it. And then you've got a Ronin who can't control those things because he hasn't processed his feelings and all this. Yeah. And you're just shelving all that potential. You have the swordsman who's like being able to wield a sword properly. That's like ultimate focus. You can get into the whole path of the arrow and like the whole like thing that can be learned from that. They're leaving all of that out. All of these like if this was a modern, like if this was budgeted like this for Green Arrow, you'd be getting all that.
Oh yeah.
All that. Like you'd be getting some long bow hunter quality stuff, but you're just like, screw that. It just make it. Send it out.
What they're trying to do, and I'm still trying to figure it out myself, because it's almost like you're watching two shows
at once. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't know what it wants to be.
Like we got the girl who needs, community, family, right? She kind of embodies those concepts. She brings the LARPers in, they all hang out. She's trying to be close with her family, and she's quirky and weird, right? And then you got like this guy who's like, he just wants to go see his family, and he's gonna deal with a bunch of bullshit from his past because some little girl can't keep her hands to herself. Like,
yeah, I don't know. Like when I read books like this, it kind of like I drop them. Like Robin from Williamson. It's not a poorly written book, but it's just too all over the place. They're trying to write these kids as children when these kids are really adults. They're assassins or murderers. They've done it all. They've seen it all. Like, and then they'll write them both ways inconsistently. And like you're playing to one audience while you're writing to two. It doesn't really. Yeah. Doesn't land for me. But I might overthink things though, and I look too deep into things, but that's because I appreciate when I watch content, not just to sit there with my mouth open, drooling on myself. It's the only way I can enjoy
on your phone while you're saying you're watching the show. That drives my work does that. It drives me crazy.
That leads me into Peacemaker real quick, because a new extended trailer for that dropped. And dude, I couldn't be more excited for a show than I am for that, because I've talked about it repetitively. After the Suicide Squad film, I was visibly angry about the death of Rick Flag when he killed Flag. That was the point of that scene, and it nailed it for me. I loved Rick Flag in the first movie, loved him in this movie. I thought Joel Kinnaman was a fantastic casting job. Like, that's my favorite part that I'm hyped about right now. The Suicide Squad comics is Flag coming back in. Like, he's a cool character. He's just cool, but it was really weird that they let him kill him at the end and kind of just left us hanging, and then they tell us, like, they announced that there's going to be a Peacemaker show. And I'm always thinking, where are they going to go with this? And in the comics currently, he's kind of questioning everything about himself, who he is, why he does what he does, who is he really? And it looks like that's what they're about to do with the show. Like, I'm hoping and I'm thinking, and it's really easy to do it because you saw his face when he killed Flag. You heard what he said. It's like, please don't make me do this.
Yeah, he genuinely he respected Flag, but he's one of those guys that follows orders, and takes.
He has his priorities messed up. I think in this show he's going to actually realize that he's not on the right path, and he's going to be looking for his path. I don't think he's going to be like, all of a sudden he's a good guy now. All of a sudden he's not crazy anymore, but you see him questioning his previous motives. And I think we're going to get to see an actual character arc and character development that's going to be much needed in order for him to be well received by me.
Oh, yeah. I'm excited for it. I'm glad Peacemaker's a campy character. He's one of those campy characters, right? And you can kind of have some fun with them, but it looks like they're going to kind of dive into some deep stuff, like you said. And I think that really, instead of doing it the opposite of what Hawkeye is doing, where they're trying to do like a shtick, right? We're actually just going to watch one person go through an emotional thing, and the different emotions, and still be a bro frat boy, trailer park trash kid at the end of the day, which is awesome.
It aggressively says the death was so specific, I can't help but think Flag is coming back. Dude, he's been gone before, and I think it wouldn't be anything that we see happen soon whatsoever. And in the comics, the Colonel Rick Flag that runs around is not the first Rick Flag. He's not, the Rick Flag in modern comics is the son of the original Rick Flag. Mm-hmm. So they could always go that route if they wanted to. It's a comic book movie, they could do whatever they want. But I think they're really leaning into Peacemaker, and they needed something to be that moment. You hit a moment where you're faced with two paths. One takes you down and one takes you toward redemption. And I think that they're going to use that as this moment that causes that split. In the comics here currently, the same thing happened, and it was when he was out in the field having to face Swamp Thing. And so Swamp Thing took him down through there, and he's like, "No, you're about to see the world for what it is for a second."
Yeah. I don't think they're going to drop the cornerstone of him being his quest for peace, Mm-hmm. I think what they're going to do is explore or at least what I would do, is like explore what that really means, and because that's all he's ever after, But if you're misguided if your goal is on point, but your mission is misguided, you end up in the wrong place, And I think maybe that's what we're going to see is him have that wake up call of like, I'm on the right path. I just need to find the right way to do this, Yeah. And so I kind of suspect that's what we're going to get is him exploring like what peace really means to him and how he can better the world through that.
Yeah, and instead of just blindly following orders with no ethics or morals behind you, make you a drone and a douchebag.
And I think they're gonna, and I think they're kind of smart with the direction they're taking Vigilante. So the way that he's going to be in the show is nothing like he's been portrayed previously, like serious, stone cold Punisher style character. He's going to be the craziest thing that we see in the show. When they're doing that, they kind of make this already crazy, campy, outrageous character of Peacemaker seem more level. So he's going to be our springboard. Where like if we're going to see Peacemaker do something outrageous, by the time it's over, the outrageous stuff Peacemaker does is probably going to look par for the course for us. You know what I mean? It's because you're going to always have Vigilante there being even stranger, which I'm looking forward to laughing about that. I have I've been going back reading his 50-issue run on the DC Universe Unlimited app, and it's very Punisher-ish. Ex-DA, family killed by the mob. It's the 70s, so we got to get him a van. Let's get him a van and a small team, and he can go out and
right.
18 out.
Put some barbarian woman paint on the side of
it. And some airbrush art, the barbarian holding a sword and the maiden holding his leg, straight Frazetta style. Jack asked the question, if a cute girl came to your house with movies and pizza, how quickly would you, if Hawkeye wasn't a Disney show? So what I'm thinking this question means is the fact that it's a Disney show what really keeps you invested in it, wondering what they might do next toward the bigger picture of things, knowing they're capable of doing things out of nowhere like that. Like if this show was just its own thing that didn't come with any like pre-inflated hype, would you still be watching it? I'm almost not watching it as is. They're fun, but they don't hit me like I would want it to.
I'm going to keep watching it, and I'm going to be invested in it. So prepare for rants when they get really campy. But I'm watching it for totally different things. Like I enjoy archery as a hobby. I make arrows. I know archery, and I like swords. Right, I'm that nerd. Right, so I like that stuff, and I like Clint Burton just as a character. Just I think he's very deep. And I like that. So, and my wife says that it's me. I don't hear well. I don't care anymore. I don't need long-winded answers, and I don't need your help.
Sharon Carter, I'm the broker. Kate Bishop, my mom cut off my credit cards. I'm broker. What's up, Brian? What's up, Naj? Yeah, you are seeing this. You can't help but to see the stuff on social media from the people that are fighting against woke culture and back and forth all the time. I don't get in the middle of all that stuff, but Disney sure is making their content a lot easier to make these days. Between Sharon Carter stepping up, you got Riri Williams coming, you got Kate Bishop taking over. Everything is absolutely shifting, and I don't
great because all these garbage comic books, because they're all horrible comic books. Riri Williams, that was just poorly written, but now they're worth money, and I can get rid of them and get money back.
Yeah, which is funny because just wait till the next CBCS unboxing that I do. When those books come out of the black hole, there's spec books in there.
Yeah,
which isn't my thing. They're Paul's. It's Paul's book.
Villain A.
Yeah. Oh, Villain A.
I think this is the first time I've seen Mr. John here, but he's hilarious.
Yeah, Jack.
Jack.
Yeah, so, see what else was on the list. I think that was pretty much it. Oh yeah, Williamson and Dan Mora. They posted some stuff on social media this past week that has me super hyped because Williamson is such a great writer. He doesn't get as much credit as he deserves, but he just took over the main Batman title. He's been working on Deathstroke Inc. as well as the Robin series, as well as one of my favorite books to pick up, the Infinite Frontier stuff, which Justice League Incarnate #1, which is the second volume of the new Infinite Frontier stuff. It just came out last week, but he's going to be bringing three of those stories together for a crossover. It's not an event. The stories are just going to be crossing over with Deathstroke, Batman, and the Robin title. And Dan Mora's art is just made for Batman. Like he's found his home. Like I first noticed him when he was working on the Power Ranger books, but he is made for Batman.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about that too. I always like a good comic book.
Yeah, right. Fine morning. So, you got anything else you want to touch on before we start diving into these new releases from this week?
I'm just so happy everybody gets to see me, and you're welcome for that, YouTube.
I don't really have anything else. I've been a little out of touch with the news lately, so.
Were you able to get any
what
more
else.
reading? You said you didn't have much time to read this week. Were you able to hit anything else yet?
Yeah, I read 3 books this week. I kind of picked 3 that I thought were all going to be like the best of, and I was right on 2/3 of that. So I read
Save the one that wasn't for last.
Dark Knights of Steel #2. Another book. Oh, crossover #10, and the Metropolis book.
The
Not Metropolis. Krypton.
World of Krypton.
World of Krypton. There you go.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I love Krypton mythos, and when I read it, I'm like, this is not for everybody. The artwork on the inside was like a mixture between Darwin Cook and Bruce Timm almost. It looked like animated series stuff, which I'm not like a go-to for that kind of artwork, but it did just fine. All it did was really set up our characters because, believe it or not, you don't know most of Krypton's characters. I'm familiar with a lot of them because I've like read novels on Krypton and stuff like that. Like The Last Days of Krypton, one of the best books I've ever read. But I love old Krypton stuff, so this hits for me. But I'm very Superman biased, and I know that. Like this is an acquired taste, but I'm definitely going to continue picking it up. It takes place at the naming ceremony of Kara, and you see like you have like a big division between the different family houses, and a coup attempted to take place to take out the elves, and one of their own is getting blamed for the attack. There wasn't much else to that.
Isn't that what the show kind of spun when the show first? Krypton, the show, didn't they kind of spin it from that too? Disgrace the House of Owls.
The show takes place a generation before this. You follow Seg in the show, and you follow Jor in this. So this would the show is Jor's father and Jor's grandfather.
Okay.
So this would be the next generation, and the show's kind of its own thing. They lean into some of the mythos and stuff, especially when they bring in like characters into it. But as far as just like the strict like canon, as far as I could tell, canon Kryptonian stuff, the only thing you really get in this is just the existence of these characters. You know, you have his brother, and then you hear Drew Zod talk about the war that just finished with Jax which that's a big thing in Kryptonian history, which I actually hope that this book would be more about, like when he was getting the space javelins and stealing them and trying to destroy Krypton and its moon himself. Like that's cool stuff right there. He's ruthless. They touch on that in some older stuff, but it's kind of just right at the birth of Kara, you know, and she only spent like 14 years on Krypton before its demise. So we'll see if it moves quicker, if it just stays focused on this specific time era. I don't know, but I love Krypton stuff, so I'm for it.
I thought I didn't think the artwork was necessarily bad. It just and this could go into like expectations, but like I was kind of expecting to get like a more serious like political thriller, and this, I mean, in a sense it kind of was, but like the artwork wasn't quite what I expected for that type of thing. I was expecting something maybe like a less extreme version of like Department of Truth or something in that realm. A lot of like secret conversations behind people's backs.
Yeah, cartoon type art. I see. Yeah, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, like the artwork didn't really connect with me.
But you gave Miko the cover, you know?
I know, right?
Polar opposites.
So yeah, I was expecting something a little more like political thrillery, more secrecy kind of stuff, and this was more like action thriller kind of. I also didn't really connect with many of the characters. I didn't, you know, and of course your connection to them can evolve over the series, but I just at the end of it, I was like, I don't know. I didn't really like keep track of any particular character because none of them really stuck out to me. So I'm probably not going to read beyond that, but I was interested in it. I was a little disappointed that the artwork didn't reflect what I was expecting.
Don't worry, I'll keep you up to speed. So you didn't read Swamp Thing yet?
No, I haven't.
Well, real quick, I'm going to burn through my pool. So obviously I got World of Krypton. I picked up Dark Knights of Steel #2, Batman 118, The Return of the Dark Knight. Oh my God, that was so fun. Superman Son of Kal-El annual, phenomenal. Watching how this Superman spars with the Mastermind was just delightful. Swamp Thing #10, which is the conclusion of the second story arc, which was extended by popular demand to 16 issues. Instead of them doing a break between issue 10 and starting up the second volume, they said, we got this. It's already written. Romby's the man. Run with it. So I even picked up that Brian Bolland B cover to go in the Legion.
That's beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah, I figured I have this like real strict A cover policy I try my best to stick to. So now that I do the giveaway every month, I can buy a variant, enjoy it for a month, and then just give it away. Works out perfect. Mighty Morphin, issue #14, the Eltarian War. TMNT Best of Shredder, which I'm not even reading these anymore. I just got the cover set. I'm probably going to try to offload the whole set. I've got 8 of them. I've actually posted a picture on Instagram. They look great in a picture, but not in a long box. Suicide Squad, issue #10. Crossover, issue #10. Fantastic. And I finally got around to reading Department of Truth 14. It took me till yesterday to get to it. That was
how cool. How cool was that origin story of Hulk?
It was the origin story of everything, not just
pretty
Hulk. Even what I mean. It was nuts. They even like because of how because who they chose to follow in the book. It was even extending the origin story of Lee Harvey Oswald. We get the origin of Hulk, who you see. It makes perfect sense now. You know, his dad's John Malkovich from Red.
Nice.
Yes. Good analogy.
The bunker, the paranoia, all of it. It was good, but they gave us the origin of how this world became like this. It's all Scientology's fault.
Yeah. Scientology and
Parson,
a nuclear physicist and a fiction writer.
Yeah, they got out in the desert, were messing with stuff beyond their understanding, and it worked. That opened a doorway, and the woman in red and the first horde of fictions came out right behind her. You know, UFOs.
That was awesome. I love the way they made all these random connections. That and the Men in Black shtick with no eyebrows and being bald, and it was beyond Oswald. That was beautiful.
That was awesome. Why are you shaving your eyebrows? You said shave my head. Bald people have eyebrows. But it was really good. It was awesome. You know, that woman in red has been a very interesting character this whole time from the early issues of this. Before I started grabbing A covers, I had to have those first couple issues with her on the cover. But as soon as they stopped having they kind of looked like they matched for a while, like a close up of her and stuff like that. Then they broke any kind of formula I saw for it in my head, so I just moved back over to cover A's.
I like how they kind of tied it in with the whole Babylonian horror. That's a whole mythos too. A lot of creepiness stuff in that, and I like how it's like they just took everything and just crammed it in there for all its deliciousness.
One of my favorite Bible verses come from the Whore of Babylon story, Ezekiel 23:20, where she lusted after her paramours whose flesh was that of a donkey and emissions was that of a horse. That's like one of the most savage Bible verses I've ever heard. Bones and horse emissions. What?
Yeah.
What? That woman's wild.
What a description.
Yeah, very vivid. She was in that Old Testament. Yeah, that chick likes to party.
I'm sure the verse right after that is about Kinky Kelly and her sexy stud.
It actually moves right into her being put up on a wall and pulling her dress up to show the masses who downstairs mixed up, to be honest with you.
Perfect.
The Bible is rated TVMA. Yeah, it was wild. Getting some love from the chat there, Joe. Iggy said, "Oh, Michael Avon Oeming, the guy that did Powers, did the art for the World of Krypton." Yes, exactly. And what a week to drop that book, because he's actually featured in crossover.
Oh, really?
Ryan, you read this off.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this one was like pretty much straight interrogation. And they're like the Powers characters. I never read it, so I don't know anything about them really. But they're basically interrogating Brian Michael Bendis, and he's like, "Yo, like you need to go get the other dude too." And so they bring in Oeming, or however you say his name. Yeah. And so then they like interrogate both of them, and like the banter back and forth is just hilarious. He's like, "I created these characters." He's like,
yeah,
"I co-created these characters."
Yeah, I don't know if they had a hand in writing this, but you can tell that Cates either knows these guys, or I mean, we assume that's how they would act, I guess. Yeah. But they had a fantastic banter.
Yeah, I was actually, as I was reading, I was wondering, like, you know, I wonder if Bendis and Oeming like came in and kind of consulted on like getting those panels right, because that is the one thing I know about Powers is like those interrogation scenes with all the crazy word bubbles. Like, I can't imagine that Cates can just like perfectly replicate that style. I'm sure he could get pretty close, but I imagine he sent it to like Bendis to like kind of like proofread and explain to him how to get that effect, because there's just like balloon after balloon after balloon and balloons in between and like all this, and it was so cool. I really like this one.
There's a lot of self-deprecation in this issue as well. And, I don't know how to take that either, because we've had this character locked up in the holding cell that the government has this whole time, who we know has the ability to prophesize events almost. And that we've learned from the series that it's the creators that would have that ability. Comic writers and creators are responsible for everything in these books. And toward the end of it, what was it he's saying on that last page? God, there's a lot of ads in the back of this.
I also like how it opened with like actual comic script and like all the little notes and stuff.
Yeah, when the director is talking to the lab assistant on his walk to the cell with the secretive guy, he's pretty much writing as the reader. He's like, "Open it, sir. We just gave him his meds. He's in no shape to." I said, "Open it now. I should warn you, this is compromised state. Patient 0 has a tendency to cut the secret identity bullcrap." This whole worst kept secret in this whole thing, and you know it. You know, because this whole time we've like, it's got to be Donnie. And they finally say it. His name is Donnie Cates. And the question is he really enough of an egotistical hack a-hole to write himself into his own story? And you just see him dot. Like,
yes,
his own trope. So I don't know if that's masterful or if that's just a middle finger at the people that are critical of his work, because I can credit him both ways. I can be very critical of his stuff, because when he misses by miles. And this is really the only book that he's putting out that I'm giving high praise. And the first 6 issues couldn't give it as high praise. You know, it was good, but it wasn't these last 3, man. I think
it got good.
It got real good.
Like that first arc, it got good, and then it kind of ended, and then this second arc has been solid all the way through.
Yeah. So Chip Zdarsky's issue was what it needed.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that issue. I stopped getting crossover because of it. I did not like Chip Zdarsky's issue.
I loved it.
I love like all the like self-deprecation and also self-love, like
literal self-love. It
was a weird issue, but like it was a nice reset, because then whenever we came back, I was like, okay, now I feel like I'm in this book, versus like the first 6. I think we just all had so many expectations for what we thought might happen or should happen, and you know, Zdarsky just like kind of left fielded everything and reset all your expectations coming back.
And I don't think this is an ongoing series, is it? Is this a finite series of 12 issues?
Like, I really don't know.
And I can't remember where I heard that. Like, no one's known like the issue run of this. And I guess if it is a 12-issue series, we're on 10 now, so we should be getting like, if you pick up previews that are 3 months out, you should be getting solicitations for final issues and stuff. I don't know I think it might have been Pops that told me that he read that 12 was the final issue. And if that's the case, I mean, it looks like it could be leading that way. We really haven't started any new rabbit holes. You know, they opened up the whole prison compound, the dome, and the writer's assassin, the creator killer, you know, and we're dealing with the dome slowly but surely. That's not even necessarily too big of an important issue anymore. We know how it works and operates with the mage holding it open. As long as he's alive, it's going. we're spending a lot of time inside of the compound. And now we got to Donny Cates himself. And where the creator killer has just been a steady focus on these last 3. So it could definitely wrap up with 12 if they wanted to. And I hope they do. I hope it ends strong. And if it's well received and something you revisit down the road, I mean, I don't want them to ride it out into like just nothingness.
Yeah, I am getting to the point where I want some answers to kind of like know what's going on. If it continues the way it's going, I wouldn't mind more of it, like you said, kind of like down the road, maybe take a hiatus. But yeah, I am at the point where I'm like, I need like some hard answers, like kind of explain to me exactly where we're at now,
What's going on, Dan? Doing really good, man.
Zordon, the Futurama treatment. I'm assuming that's a reference in the book.
No, it's this right here. You know that Zordon is a floating head in a jar.
Yeah.
You know that. Everyone knows that. Well, that containment field got destroyed, and they were able, because it's just a consciousness. And he's just placed in time and space kind of thing. He gets very Power Ranger-y science to really get into it. But there's a huge attack by the Eltarians, which is Zordon's original race when he was an actual physical being. They're trying to take over everything. And this issue was really spent because that happened at the end of the last issue. And they were able to save him pretty much in a micro-containment thing, but on borrowed time, we got to do something with him. So this issue was trying to find him. His consciousness was lost in time and space, so Billy set out with a blue emissary who's like kind of like it's kind of like your the next level above a Power Ranger in the universe setting kind of thing. You have like the Morphin Masters that you don't really see or you just know of them. Then under them are the emissaries that there's a blue one, a red one, and a yellow one. Those are your primary colors. Every other color comes through those. So Billy and a blue emissary reach out to find Zordon and get his consciousness back into that containment to save what's left of his life. It was really cool, and they not only get him back into his containment, they put his containment on that, and he's pissed. So we're about to see Zordon for the first time in all of Power Rangers history kick some ass. And there's been a huge division.
What, 10,000 years? So
10,000 years.
Some pent-up anger to unleash.
Yeah, since he had some appendages, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Boy, he needs to go find a nightclub, throw out some dollar bills, man, and get hooked up. Stop worrying about that hate.
Right.
Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to fear. Fear leads to no, but it's
Walked into a strip club called the Webslayer.
Books right now. There's a huge division amongst Power Ranger fans because the original cast members of the show that were the blue, black, and yellow Ranger left the show pretty early on because when it exploded, they thought that they needed more money outside of what their contract said. Whether they did or didn't, not my business to tell. I can't say. But they left on like, we're not going to do it anymore. Like, fine, these other random kids right here will do it. So what they did,
you can pretty much go to any karate school and find a kid to do some kicks. Like, seriously.
Don't you know 75% of this is already shot in Japan? We don't need you.
We don't really need you. We just need somebody who can speak English and has a nice smile.
Exactly. And what they've done differently in this book, instead of them being written off permanently, they in the show they went to a peace conference that because them being Rangers isn't all that matters inside of like their network of friends and support. Like Zordon doesn't even think you have to be a Ranger forever. Like the world comes first, and if doing something outside of those costumes helps the world first, you don't need the costume. You don't need the power to do that. You have the power inside you to do that. So they went to this peace conference, and they had to bring in the next wave, the next 3. But in the books, that peace conference was actually a cover-up. They were sent to the farthest ends of space to go do something by the emissaries, and Zordon was unaware of it, and they became these new Rangers called the Omega Rangers. There's been different Rangers over the years with different sources of their power and stuff. So it was really cool, but what happened pretty quick is there was a division amongst the Mighty Morphin team and the Omega team, and Zordon was the split, like those that agreed with Zordon and those that didn't. And I have been team Zordon from day one because I don't turn my back on my friends. And this really showed that, like, if you weren't team Zordon, you should feel bad about yourself because, for one, he didn't get played like a fool in these comics. It was revealed that he saw this coming from a mile away. And for two, like, he's coming back strong. You know what I mean? Like, it was all because of Draken, that evil Green Ranger from a different dimension. The Omega Rangers wanted to take him and see if we can find out how to stop these bad guys by taking Draken out of jail. And Zordon's like, do not take him out of my jail. And that's what did it. So Draken got free, of course, beat the hell out of them. The whole planet got destroyed, left him for dead, and he's back out and running around. Long story short, you should have listened to Zordon the whole time.
Yeah.
If you're Team Omega Rangers, you got to answer for that someday.
Always listen to the floating head.
Yeah.
Always listen to the floating head.
Yeah. Ranger Rick, exactly. What is going on, Chaos? It is awesome to see you in here, man. Appreciate you stopping by. That was a quick review of Power Rangers. Like I said, I picked up that Best of Shredder. On that though. Will Zordon go all Raiden Mortal Kombat style? That'd be pretty cool.
Right.
All electrified.
Joe, what's one from your reads this week?
Oh, we we're going to talk about this. Steel.
Oh, you got that Wonder Woman.
Dark Knight of Steel.
Yes, I did. I got that. Yeah, Mama got the jiggles.
that was so second nature. That wasn't even thought
right.
out.
So this kind of confirms, and again, I want to explain it, but I don't want to get too deep with it. So this is
get deep with it. Go for it.
This is Hamlet. It's Hamlet. This is Hamlet, right? You just don't need to translate everything on the second page because it was written by an over boisterous man-child from the Renaissance era. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Shakespeare. Sorry. No, but this is good. So, we often, and I criticize this a lot, when you sit there and you try to make something mainstream as the superpower. So in this one, of course, I'm talking about where Supergirl and Wonder Woman kind of lock lips passionately. It's kind of hot. Like, I'm not going to lie, right? But it was great because we generally, when you see this kind of stuff happen in a comic book, they make that relationship or those feels or that thing the superpower. And it's garbage. That's not true. That's not what makes you a person. And how you use it. And how they did it in here, it was just like, oh, this is what they are, right? Now Supergirl needs to go kill a kid. Literally. Dropping body. If you haven't been reading this, basically, the king is dead. Jor-El's dead. Supergirl just found out, had to leave Wonder Woman. We're kind of getting an idea of how the kingdoms are broken up. So you got like Black Lightning, he's like T'Challa, if you will. He's got like Wakanda going on, right, in his little section. And then, of course, Wonder Woman. And apparently Supergirl was sent there to train, to learn how to control her powers and fight and that kind of thing, which is very reminiscent of a medieval story. The Green Man, right? We already know who this is. It's obviously going to be Green Lantern, which is cool. The Green Arrow lost his hand.
He lost his arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, it wasn't from Superman. Nope, Batman did that shit. He got his arm right off because he just recently found out that he's the bastard child of Jor-El and may have powers in this as well. And I love the complexity of it, how they just drop it real quick and then immediately move into the action part of the story. So now you gotta really focus.
Yeah, that's something that really stood out to me in this book is like how well the world building is being done. Yeah. Like when they refer to Jefferson's kingdom as like the kingdom of storms, like, okay, so now we know that there's like people are understanding what's going on and there's like a bigger picture here. I like when whenever he talks about how his son, right, makes it rain. He's like, he's the first person to control rain in generations. So now we know how important this character is, right, which pays off a little bit later in the book, Yeah. Right. Alfred mentions he was in the last war. So we know this kingdom hasn't seen war in quite a while. So they're kind of concerned about going into war, even though it's, probably kind of warranted. But like it puts this gray area in everybody very well. It's not like this manufactured grayness. Like, we can kind of see why everybody's doing what they're doing, and they're not always right. They're not always wrong, but they're doing these things.
Yeah. I
also love the way that the character, like the dialogue is so good because it references things we're thinking, like whenever Constantine said, they're talking about how like, well, it was the prophecy we had to. And he's like, I'm the prophet. And even I don't know, like if this was a good thing or, Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like the dialogue is just so good and how it's like asking the questions that you're thinking, but in like a very creative way. So I thought this issue was phenomenal.
I thought it was too.
Yeah. And in classic Tom Taylor fashion, it goes hard, man. Like he's always written gritty comics, and I've said it 1,000 times. I'll say it again. Like his Earth 2 run, where I was really introduced to him back in the New 52 stuff. Like the level of violence is not your run-of-the-mill DC comic book. I mean, DC writes some darker, more violent books, normally under Black Label banners nowadays or whatever. But with Tom Taylor stuff, it's always been edgy, and not in like an edgelord type of way. It's just really edgy, you know, like making the decision for Jor-El to be, or let Bruce be the bastard son of Jor-El, you know, like it makes sense for this book. It's so not what you would have expected. And then in that moment, murder him with an arrow to the eye socket, you know, and it wasn't taken out in like one of those silhouetted panels where you see the shink and the blood. No, man, eye socket, you know, and
right.
with Batman and Alfred is going in on those attackers, and he just flies off the horse and takes an entire arm off, you know, like and then to top it off, like you mentioned, Supergirl goes straight to the Kingdom of Storms, busts the wall in, and Black Lightning thought he's going to tough talk her, and she was just blinded by rage and just drops Black Lightning's son. Yeah. He just falls Black Widow style to his death.
You were kind of being led. I like how they did this switch up too. You were kind of being led that, you know, Superman's about to drop a body, right? When he walked down there to the prison, like they kept leading to that.
Yeah.
She did. She dropped him.
She made it rain for sure. Maybe. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, and again, like just on the nose with it, like, you know, I could kill you with the blink of an eye, and he's like, yeah, so go ahead and do it. Why are we still waiting? He's like, no, I'm not gonna do that, you know. And then even like I've never really been that fond of Harley, but like her dialogue exchange in this issue was great, you know.
Yeah.
He's like, you're not employed for your opinions. You're employed to juggle. She's like, okay, well, I'll juggle. Do you want me to give my opinions while I juggle?
Yeah. And well, it was cool too, because she got serious with him like while she was doing that, because like she's playing the fool, but she was the level-headed one. She was the voice of reason. She's like, yeah, I'm employed to do that and this and this and this. So while I do this, you should probably, you know, I'm not telling you what to do.
I love how you brought up, you know, just locking up people because they're, you know, super powered, you know. But they, you know, there's a reason why they do that too, because of the prophecy. So the scale.
And they show us like some of the characters that are locked up, so it kind of like gives you this like grander scope of like what this kingdom and these kingdoms might be like, you know.
And the speedster was a blonde-haired speedster, so that only leaves Barry. That had to be Barry. Wally's a redhead, Bart's a redhead, Jay's not blonde-haired. He's so I don't know. We had a Thanagarian locked up in there. We had Blue Devil in there. There was
that was King Shark. Blue Devil in there.
Yeah, King Shark was in there. I think Blue Devil is the only one that should be in there. He's the only one with magic. But,
yeah, probably. The prophecy though.
I think I would love.
They're a tricky thing.
I hope they have a big battle where all these superpowers just do a big colossal medieval swords and magic. You know,
battalions and. Oh man, that would be so cool to see.
No, that's the problem with it, Jim. Is they're on a quest to rid these lands of magic, but they have no measuring stick. Anything that shows meta abilities at all that is not part of their house is deemed magic. Black Canary is not magic, and they kind of touched on that. You know, the Speed Force is not magic. Thanagarians are not magic. King Shark is not magic. You know, nothing that they're doing so far, with the exception of Blue Devil in that cage, is actually justified to their own cause. Not like in a bigger scheme of morality, but they're missing the mark completely, and that's why they were kind of touching on it. They were about to start having some internal questions or getting more specific with what they were doing. But now this assassination, none of that matters anymore. You just validated everything that they're doing by doing that. So
I'm kind of wondering if they're just going to do a generic, you know, Aquaman and Atlantis. You know, there's another kingdom. I hope they don't go that generic with it, because I hate Aquaman. I think that's a worthless superhero.
Well, I don't know what to say other than as of today, Jason Momoa posted on social media driving back from the final shoots for Aquaman 2. It has wrapped up filming. Hey, Joe, welcome back.
Thank you.
I love it.
It's so cold in the backstage.
Man, that power is a tricky thing.
Oh my god, that would be something. Like that's your big hitter. That's your ace in the hole right there. Like when the House of L is coming for you, that's your ace in the hole. That's the one dude that can beat the tar out of Superman.
Yeah.
If he tries hard enough, he's got to be real focused. And
he's only Billy Batson's like a pauper in a like medieval village or something.
That'd be cool. The closest he's come to beating Superman was Kingdom Come, and he laid them hands on it. But Superman, when it all comes down to it, Superman could have taken that man's life if he wanted to. You know, he was sitting there on his hands and knees, and in between getting hit with lightning, because what was happening, Shazam kept saying his name and just hitting him with that big bolt. And Superman sitting there bleeding out of his ears and his nose on his hands and knees with his suit just pretty much vaporized off of him. He looks up and sees Captain Marvel say, "Shuh," and as soon as he does, in that one moment, you see his hand go out, then the lightning hits him, but he still somehow managed to hold it steady enough to cover that dude's mouth. So when the smoke cleared, he's holding a human in by the face. You know, like that's over at that point. Like goosebumps. Yeah, fight's over. But yeah, the Earth's Mightiest Mortal is the only person that they got a chance to go up against House of L. And you're dealing with a young Clark too. It's a young Clark and a completely undisciplined half Kryptonian Bruce Wayne.
He's about college age, yeah. Which is weird because Bruce Wayne looks about the same age as him in it. So I'm trying to figure out how many, like Joel must have been running around the castle like one after the other. The old ladies and his old bird, like
chamber to chamber.
You gotta keep in mind, like the Kryptonians don't necessarily have to age the same way either, though. We haven't seen anything in DC Comics that would suggest that a half Kryptonian ages any differently, but we do know that, like from stuff, plenty of canon books, that Kryptonians do not age the same as Earth.
Yeah, they don't age the same way. But again, we're also in a medieval story, so I really wouldn't know how it would break out.
Yeah, they can do whatever they want. That's part of the beauty of it. Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be hard, right? He just flies around from room to room, pop, 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 pop. A herd of rabbits.
Poor concubines. So Swamp Thing number 10 dropped, and so this was the final fight between Levi and his brother that they went to. I keep gapping the name of the corporation that was trying to get a piece of the Holland phenomenon to use for weapons research, and they were straightforward about it. But it's something. Levi and his brother were in there fighting it out, and he's trying to talk to his brother like we've seen him evolve through this book, heavily, and he's not fighting his brother out of anger. He's fighting him just like putting up his hands, trying not to get hit, trying to talk to his brother, apologize to his brother, let his brother know that he does realize that everything that you feel and are doing is absolutely justified toward me. I'm your brother, and I left you for years, and I didn't come back until I stole the ground out from under your feet, and he was completely remorseful. And it all came to a head when that corporate dude flooded the facility with liquid nitrogen and stuff to try to take them out. All he managed to do was kill whoever was in there, and he, froze Swamp Thing. They got a piece of him, but eye opened at the end, and he just back into the green kind of thing. Yeah. But if this was the final issue of the story arc, I would have been like, wasn't bad. It was a good final issue, nothing too amazing. But knowing that there's 6 more issues now, I'm like, that was a good second arc finish.
Yeah,
it was a good into a second arc, not to a series.
Yeah, I thought this was good too. I liked the whole. I probably resonated more with the explanation of why the nitrogen wouldn't kill Swamp Thing, and the analogy is, when winter comes, everything's frozen. It doesn't automatically kill the plants and trees. There's always some warp that still stays there, and it grows back. That's why he's going to come back from it. And I loved that explanation. I love it when comic books need to explain something complicated that's not based in reality, and they use reality to explain it. It's a great visualization. So yeah, that was super smart. I love Woodrune. I don't know why back in this particular form, because we saw him in the green. So I'm not sure how he got out of the green and now he's a normal person, or was it an avatar type situation? I'm not really sure. I did miss 2 issues of this. I'm sure it was explained. This
is the first time Woodrue's popped up in this book since he was in the green, when Jennifer went down into the green. Yeah, he hasn't popped up again. So yeah, you didn't miss anything with his appearances at all.
Okay. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out. If he was in the green earlier and it was his prison, why is he out running around now? I'm sure it will get explained to us though now that it's extended. But I liked Woodward as a villain because he's just really the opposite of Swamp Thing, right? But with just a deeper, menacing passion for Mother Nature, if you will.
Yeah, he's taking eco-terrorism to another level.
Yeah, to a terrifying another level. So yeah, and I'm very thankful that, what was it, last year where they kind of reintroduced his origin story in one of the annuals, because I never knew his origin story or what made him who he was. I just knew him as, the flower guy.
Yeah.
He's the flower guy. So yeah, this was an intense story. I like this. I'm glad it's been extended.
Yeah. I still need to read this one, but yeah, I really liked everything that's happened so far. I doubt this is going to let me down.
Yeah, and the whole brother on brother, that's always a good battle thing there, because you don't want to hate your brother, but you know what? Sometimes your brother needs a pop in the mouth.
I do want to point out, when all the liquid nitrogen was rushing through the room, do you remember in the Incredible Hulk movie when the helicopter was crashing, how the Hulk looks at it and looks at Betty and just leans down? That's what Swamp Thing did to Jacob.
He did that for his brother,
You see his back just open up and he just creates a block so that it doesn't just immediately just plow through Jacob, because Jacob is he's not of the green, he's of magic. So who knows how this would have affected him. So I thought that was cool that Levi attempted to protect his brother in that moment.
Yeah, I thought it was smart. Definitely.
My wife's over here. She just came and told me a story. There's a guy at her job with a lisp. There's a group chat for all the employees at her job. There's a couple that work at her job, and the guy has a heavy lisp, and apparently they all joke with each other about it. And the girlfriend typed in the group chat just letters and numbers, and people are like, "You okay?" And they're like, "Yeah, that question." And my wife just put, "Talk to Tex is a bitch." But you're not crazy.
I don't know if I'm impressed. I'm just impressed.
Yeah. Her lips are turning blue. She's laughing so hard instead of breathing.
That's hilarious.
I'm proud of her right now. Oh my God, where's that book? Yes. Billy the Kid, number 3, dropped today. The book that Pocan Joe recommended me check out, and I did, and then he stopped reading it.
No, my comic book store stopped carrying it.
This is the only copy mine gets. My copy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I got number 1.
Fantastic. God, what is his name? It's like Eugene or something. His Sifu, his teacher, the goat.
Yeah, the goat.
He meets his maker in this one. So this one, like, you actually get some of the magic spiritual bad guys finally coming out of the woodwork. We find out that there's these ancient breed of rabbits that are called sunslingers that are actually powerful enough to harness all this magic energy that's been introduced in this stuff to take out these large deities and demons and whatever. And they come a calling and they kill his Sifu violently, hang him upside down, gut him. I mean, Daniel Warren Johnson level, like ultra mega level violence in these books. And but this was all happening near this place where one of the old Sunslingers' gun was, and the rabbit Billy, he's already down for the count when all this happened. He watches helplessly as it occurs, but in the rubble, something's calling to him, and he gets to that gun, and he doesn't know how to use it. It's the Sunslinger gun, but when he just through his rage, he manages to get a shot off, and if one of those, they're not even bullets, but if one of those bullets hit him, they just end up exploding, and so now he's left without a master to teach himself how to be a sunslinger. And this is getting bigger and bigger.
I wish I could get it. Oh, I need to talk to my comic shop guy.
It gets better and better with each issue.
I'm gonna have to get that, or at least try to find it online and read it.
Yeah. So, did you read Superman Son of Kal-El annual?
I did not.
All right, well, you grab a book next real quick. What do you got?
Okay. I know you picked up Arkham City.
I read it digitally. I'm glad you mentioned that. I definitely read it. I read other books too. I'm glad, dude. I always forget about my digital reads. I tell you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
This book is insane. It is scary level insanity. So if you don't know, you've heard all the origin stories of Gotham City. This is probably the one that I like the most. crazy zealot religious guy. It explains why so much crazy stuff happens in Gotham. Think of it as the curse, if you will, of craziness, and how Arkham Asylum's map fits over the city perfectly, and how to find the people. And I'm really digging. Again, I don't know this 10-eyed guy. Everybody's told me where he's come from. I went back, did a little research on it, but I didn't realize that.
His old Silver Age Batman character in the cover for his first. You probably have his book and didn't even think about it because he was such a minuscule character.
Yeah, maybe I would have to go back and look. But yeah, I'm glad they kind of gave us a little bit of a history lesson in this for the reason for the, just why Gotham's insane or has this insanity going on in it. And I'm not a big fan of the narration box being somebody's diary. I always find that annoying. I don't know why. It's just annoying to me. I don't want to read your notes. I take my own notes. I don't need to read yours. Just stick a narration box in it and be done with it already. But the overall story itself, and bringing Solomon Grundy in to kind of explain this in his own way, right?
How about that communication between the 10-eyed man, who is deemed the craziest nut in the nut house? He's just knocking it all off. Like he's making these predictions, and they're right there. And they show up to Solomon Grundy with a normie, with the only psychiatrist left from A-Day, and Grundy just comes up, Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday. And she's ready to freak out and run. And he's responding to Grundy like he's speaking perfect English to him.
Yeah.
Every bit of Grundy's dialogue was his rhyme.
Mm-hmm.
And the 10-eyed man has a conversation with him about every bit of it. It all plays out perfectly.
Yeah. And then we also kind of get a sense of how old Solomon Grundy is, right?
Oh, man.
Yeah, right. Because you think of him as an old mobster, and that's the way he was always predicted, right? But remember, it wasn't Solomon Grundy, right? That's a curse. He's
the avatar of the gray.
Right. So the actual thing is actually older than that. And it's just so smart. This is so smart. Insanely smart.
So yeah, that was something that was really unpacked. Again, going back to Tom Taylor's Earth 2, that was unpacked in that because, Alan Scott was like one of the main primary focuses of the first arc of Earth 2. Well, the big heel was Solomon Grundy, and it was explained that was the avatar of the gray of Rot. Now we have the red, which is the animal kingdom, the green, which is the Mother Nature, gray that's Rot, and Grundy is bigger than Solomon. But such an amazing character. I love it whenever Grundy shows up. He's just, I don't know, he was like DC's answer to the Hulk, the big brooding guy.
Yeah.
But
and he's also a character you can
do
something new with him every time you want to introduce him into the story. That's what's great about him. Maybe he's not just this big oaf that's out there talking. Maybe he's actually saying words, or maybe he knows a lot more than what he just can't verbalize it, or whatever the case may be.
And watching Stargirl, he was in season 2 heavily. He was the big, like, you knew he was in season 1, but he was the big reveal in the end to get the big fight out of. But he was a lovable character in the second one, much like the Long Halloween, how Batman takes him to the Thanksgiving meals and everything. You get a fresh start with him. Like, it's whoever gets their hands on him first after he reanimates. You get to make him what you want to make him. If it's going to be this villain running around like a henchman for you, if it's just going to be like a destruction bomb you let loose in a city, if it's going to be an ultimate guardian for a small child, you get to make him what you want. Yeah. But unfortunately, you can always expect that a good writer is going to make you fall in love with this character, and they're going to off him. And that's what happened with Stargirl. I'm like, I've warned my wife as soon as they started bringing him apples. I'm like, don't get too attached. They're just buttering us up. Yeah, he's the only character that they can make us love, that they can kill and us not have to worry about him not returning. Like, you can come
and bring him back.
Mm-hmm. The personal diary narration trope is a good device, and you can always change things in the story and make the writer of the diary an unreliable narrator. That's a good point. If it is a diary, that's a very unreliable narrator, no matter what. I didn't even think about that.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Iggy, that's why we love you, man.
I swear we got some of the smartest people out there. I love all of you.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes it's kind of annoying, but like whenever it's a more atmospheric thing, like in Department of Truth, the letters during the Bigfoot story, like they're really added to everything. But there are times where they do like the diary, or like the 1988 Peacemaker series, they do like these psychiatry files at the end of the books, and it's just like so dense and boring. I'm like, this is important information to have that you should have got into the story or left it out completely. But I cannot read this. The files are so dry.
Should you have read them before reading the series, or do they go in line with the story? Because it's just 4 issues, right?
Yeah, it's only 4 issues. It's at the end of the issues, and it kind of it's like a psychiatrist take on, like, they kind of explain his backstory and stuff. So in the first issue, it probably wouldn't make sense because you don't know the character, you know. After that, you could probably go through and read them, and it would help explain some things. But yeah, you get to the end, and it's like 3 pages of like psychiatry files, and you're like, oh my god.
No.
Oh, did you pick up Devil's Reign #1 from Chip Zdarsky?
Yes, I did.
Also known as
I
Batman
am
Fear
not, and I'm about to get your video may get thumbed down. So I'm not a Daredevil fan. I can't get behind a Daredevil story. I hate Daredevil. Like it's kind of like an Aquaman for me. It's a blonde lawyer ninja guy. You're like, come on, this is a little too much. But
it's a little too much. I like this one, Daredevil. I don't pick him up regularly. I've had a lot of regret of not following Zdarsky's run, and I figured I'd check this out.
I like this. This was good. Like, I know we got.
Hold on, real quick. Ryan, you didn't read this. All right, tell me what book I'm describing real quick. New mayor takes over the city, deems that superheroing is illegal, and gets an elite police force to monitor the city heavily and arrest all masked vigilantes. What book did I just describe?
New York City.
Detective Comics and Batman.
I just described Devil's Reign.
Yeah.
That's exactly what this book is. It's Mayor Nakano and the freaking magistrate.
Yeah. It's Civil War. Yeah, it's the thing with the teams. Yeah,
it's a micro version of Civil War. Like Tony even says that they've done this before, and it was funny that Tony was the voice of reason against the idea of it. # Cap was right. But dude, like I was so excited for this, and now all I can think about is God. I hope it goes a different direction ASAP. I hope this is just the catalyst of what the story is going to be. Don't do a magistrate. Why would you do a magistrate? There's no way that you did not know that the magistrate that started in January, man. January, 12 months ago.
And the magistrate was kind of already a tired concept when that started.
And it just finished. Like a future state started in January and February. That was the 3-issue introduction to the magistrate. And it just finished just last week. And now the very next week, you're giving us the exact same story, but with different characters.
I don't know. I agree it's the same story. It's something Marvel's already done when they did like the teenagers couldn't be superheroes, unless you're 21. I'll go there, but there's something else that's going on in here with the Purple Man's kids in the background and wanting their dad dead. Like, and of course he's not worried about being mayor, right? He's got bigger goals.
That's what I'm saying. I'm excited about where that goes.
Yeah.
Well, this person,
that's the thing. Like I always say, like high level, all concepts are pretty exhausted. It's in the nuance where it gets interesting. And honestly, like I trust Zdarsky much more than Tynan whenever it comes to nuance.
Well, you have these rich backers that have put Kingpin in the mayor place because they're enjoying watching the crap show go down. And the first thing he does, because he's mad at Daredevil, all right, again, DC concept here. Daredevil used, God, I forget who he said, somebody to wipe everybody's memory because his identity has been out for a long time. Like, that was like the Bendis run in the early 2000s when he went to jail because his identity got out. Foggy went in jail because of like working with him, and Foggy got killed in jail, got shanked up and all that stuff. But Daredevil's identity is no longer known, and Wilson Fisk knows that his brain was tampered with because he had private files in his safe that his memory no longer aligns with. He knows Daredevil had something to do that, so that's why he ordered this mandate. Mm-hmm. I'm getting sick of superheroes tampering with people's mind. The Spider-Man movie is about to do it. Daredevil just did it. And if you go back to Identity Crisis, you see what it costs you to break that line. That's a huge morality code that broke the Justice League, and that was insane. Like when it was Sue Dibney that got raped by Dr. Light, and Dr. Light found their watchtower, and against Batman's will, they held him down and wiped his memory and Batman's of the event from doing it. And that's how they've protected their secret identities for a long time, is by graying the line of right or wrong. And they deemed it hard no. We just have to do better. Like that was that was a big deal. And now we're doing it again. And it just hits me weird because of how powerful that story was on that topic. Just wiping minds willy-nilly. You know, Spider-Man's about to learn the hard way in this new movie, the same thing.
I enjoyed this mostly for just the stupid hero, like the battles, right? Like I want to see.
It was good for that.
Yeah, this is nothing more than just fan fiction for me. I get to see superheroes do cool things. Captain America's, Bubba was about to bust some heads. It's Civil War.
Yeah. Captain America wasn't letting it go down. They were trying to arrest Miles for saving a woman out of a burning building.
Yeah. And then seeing Luke Cage actually spotlighted a little bit and standing up and giving a hero's speech, which is really kind of out of character for him, but that shows you the level that people are getting tired of this crap. And they start speaking up. And I'm like, truth to power, son. Truth to power.
So it was, in all sincerity, it was a very well written comic. It was well balanced, had a lot of good action. They were setting up a lot of good stuff. It made it pretty clear that there's supposed to be a bigger picture happening here. Like you said, Kingpin had Purple Man hidden. Purple Man's like a big mind control kind of guy who Kingpin is just too strong willed for it to work on him. He lets him out of his containment just to kill him because he wants Purple Man's kids that we find out have the same abilities. And that ends with a kind of a campaign poster for Kingpin for president. So I think we're going to be moving past this little initiative to whatever the bigger story is going to be. And I don't have a clue what's been going on heavily with Daredevil, but I'm calling it now. Expect Matt Murdock to be dead by the end of this because Elektra's supposed to be taking over the Daredevil comic book. Like Daredevil's run just finished. They're capping it off, and they're starting Daredevil Woman Without Fear soon. So, maybe Daredevil's going to get off, and it'll be another one of those women power moments that we mentioned earlier. Another dynamic gender swap character here. I don't know why you would need to turn Elektra into Daredevil and just not let her be Elektra.
At least she's not blind and a lawyer.
But can you just let her just be Elektra though? Does she have to be?
Well, no, she was too sexy for that. That's a no-go today.
Okay.
In
the chat,
Scott Snyder, he has his Substack classes going on, and last month was he was talking about character and character arcs really. So his guest was Chip Zdarsky, and so they go over some of their books and their character arcs that they've written and stuff, and talk about the process of creating those and stuff. And so he did kind of touch a bit on the whole Daredevil, Elektra becoming Daredevil thing. And what he was talking about, is basically he was writing Daredevil, he was writing out the scripts. And he's a very let's say go where it needs to go, right? So okay, we need this. Now what character can kind of plug into that? And he got to this point where he needed a new Daredevil basically. And he was like, what would be interesting there? And so that's actually how Elektra became Daredevil. And there's a little bit more nuance and detail
where he's taking so he's taking it somewhere Matt Murdock just doesn't fit the mold.
Exactly. It's a very natural progression that she became Daredevil rather than just being Elektra, in his stead or something. So I think it's an interesting process the way he explained it,
And that's something that very reflective of older comics. When these comics first started before, they were so iconic and recognizable, and you can't kill that person off kind of characters. They were never meant to be forever. It was kind of like soap operas, it just keeps going. Every installment is the next installment. This character might only last this long before he hands the man.
Evil twin will show up.
Yeah, twin. Put Robin in a tall collar and call him a man now. Now we just hit a level of popularity for these characters where the companies, it's not smart as a company to progress them any farther.
Yeah. And kind of thinking out loud as I was saying, but I guess the bigger point there is it wasn't a diversity push or something where how can we make Daredevil a woman or something, it was the way he explains it, if all of it's true, then he was just writing and it got to a point where, Matt would end up in jail. He wouldn't be able to be. So who could be another Daredevil while he's locked up? And that's how he got to that point,
Alfred could do it. He did it for Adam West tons of times.
Right.
Cowboy with his gray mustache. Driving the Batmobile. Oh man, what's another one y'all picked up this week? I've noticed we're leaving one of the bangers sidelined so far. I'm happy with.
Oh, you're talking about the One Star Squadron. Happy.
I didn't read that. I did not read that. I want to hear about it. Though. I didn't.
This is garbage.
I accepted it.
So
I actually just listened to the C-List Villains podcast talk about it, and they kind of came to the same conclusion.
This is stupid. So what do you do with all these, C-rate characters that we have in the DC universe? You know what you do? You make them work for a Ponzi scheme for college courses and bounty hunting, or shell them out like a pimp to birthday parties and bar mitzvahs. He said bar mitzvah way too many times in here too, by the way, right? And then you take a character that is relatively forgotten about through the pages of history called Gangbuster. You give him a TBI, a traumatic brain injury, which apparently gave him amnesia and makes him a potato at the same time. And you basically try to find his wife's a liar. It's fuck her. It's like just left her husband out to hang. Like that's like the worst relationship ever. Right. And then you tie it all up with Red Tornado walking him around because he understands the human motions now. Beep, beep, boop, boop. Right. He's a robot if you didn't know. So, and then you see like glimpses in the background of all these characters, and apparently Power Girl's like she's going from Power Girl to Power CEO because she's like, we're drop this, fire him because she read a Max Lloyd book, and now she's acting like Donald Trump running around. You're fired. God, it's crazy.
You read a Max Lloyd book.
I will pick up an issue too. I will chase this shitstorm down for the people.
Investigative journalism at its best.
I'm going to check it out digitally. There's a lot that I wanted to do and not a lot of time to do it in, being the last run of off days I had before the busy holiday season at work, and I didn't get around to that one. There's a lot going into the
I'll save you the read, man. I'll chase this shitstorm down. And
were there a lot of introductions of new characters like the Teen Titans Academy book? Because I noticed on the cover I didn't recognize a lot of the younger cast members. On the A cover, there was a lot of different characters on it.
For One Star?
Yeah.
This is the only cover I saw in there. This is all older, Bronze Age, Copper Age.
They didn't bring in who the book's actually going to be about. So the whole concept of that book is going to be Red Tornado leading a team of kids on social media, like Heroes for Hire. It's going to be a Heroes for Hire book, and the characters look so poorly created that I was actually interested. And like one of them looks like he's made of paper and can turn into leaves of paper and stuff.
I don't know. But this first issue is it's basically all just older characters that you don't care about.
Oh, I care about those All-Star Squadron characters. I like Power Girl. I like Red Tornado.
Yeah, I like those too. But this is not. You would not recognize when I didn't know it was Power Girl until somebody called her Power Girl because she's wearing like a power suit. Like
she's not wearing
her stuff.
Oh man, I want to see Power Girl in her costume, her iconic costume.
Yeah, boobies and all.
Exactly.
I was a kid. I remember that.
So there's your cast. You have Power Girl and Red Tornado, but then you have these people that are chasing money. And this guy on the back left there is literally looks like he's origami.
But you know who that is down there in the bottom left-hand corner?
That looks like Catman almost.
I forget the character's name, but he's been around forever.
It's not Bawan.
Oh, the guy with the bandana on. That's the Heckler. He's a known character.
Okay.
I don't know who that is.
The girl with the wings looks like Condor's wings almost.
Yeah.
But it's a girl. It's not Condor.
And the guy with the helmet right above the flea market.
With the V on it.
Batman. That's Gangbuster. That's in the comic book.
Superman level service at bizarro prices.
It's stupid. Everything this company does is just a scam. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's a little odd looking, but I was I like I said, I like the All-Star Squadron characters. It's kind of like an extension of JSA stuff,
Oh yeah.
But
I don't want to tell people not to read it, but because I assume everybody reads the way I do.
Fair warning, yeah.
Right. But I can't. It's hard to get behind the story when everybody's chasing money, and that's really what this is about. This issue. If I'm not getting paid enough, I'm not getting out enough, so we gotta check your online status to find out why. Just because you're a jerk, it's just like.
Well, the cover A was a fair warning. It's a shame you didn't see that on the shelf and know what you were getting into.
I saw this.
You're literally sitting there reaching for money.
I was like, oh, that looks like a cool cover.
Yeah.
Such a shame it's a garbage book.
I'll tell you what a good one was Tom Taylor's Son of Kal-El annual. This was phenomenal. So Lex Luthor made his big return into comics this week in 2 different titles. We haven't really seen him since the Death Metal event. And this was the second one that I read that he was in. The other one was the big reveal for that. But he returned to Metropolis, returned in business suit, business headed, back to work, and he wants to put up a new he bought out a new building, the tallest building in Metropolis, and he made sure to put his sign on it so that when the sun rose, it offered its shadow over the daily planet.
That's a boss move.
Yeah, so Jonathan was pissed about it, wanted to go hot-headed, and had a very awesome talk with his mom, and Batman came over and knocked on the door, and they're like, who's that? And he goes, it's Batman. It's like, and he opens the door and said, Batman, you knock? And Lois answers before he could, yeah, he knocks. He learned from the one time that he didn't. And Batman's like, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Power, sister.
Yeah. He's like, sometimes things are supposed to be personal, but it was really cool. Like that's something like knowing how Superman properly written and represented would value his family life, would value that privacy. That's something that would be sacred to that man. That house is sacred. And that's awesome that Batman respects that. That's so spot on storytelling. Like that little attention to detail is what makes Tom Taylor such an exceptional writer.
Yeah.
But long story short, he doesn't go off hot-headed to Lex. There's a whole dual story being told with a flashback of Superman in a jail cell talking to Luthor, who was there, and about why Luthor hates him. It's not the power. It's not this or that. It's the control. You're not able to control me. And there's a chessboard in front of him. He tells Clark to sit down and play, and he'll tell him what he wants to know. And Clark sits down and makes one move. Lex makes a move. Then he tells Clark to make his next move. He's like, no. He refused to make the next chess move just because he knew he couldn't control him to do it. And that's how that left us off. So when Jonathan comes to Lex for the first time, Lex is like, you want to play chess? Because like your father started a game and you never finished it. And John's like, yeah, but if I play chess, if I win, you're going to take this down. And he's like, deal. And John has to leave for a minute. He comes back, meets him on the rooftop an hour later for the chess match. And he dusts him. He absolutely decimates Lex. He's like, how is this even possible? He goes, well, you gave me an hour. I went to every library I could, and I read every book I could on chess. I watched the videos of you playing all your matches that you did publicly because you had a gloat about your ability. And I've noticed right from the get-go, you were trying the move you did, 19 da-da-da-da-da against yada-yada, and like it was easy to block. I'm like, oh, my God. He's like, now take the sign down. Get the meat now. I'm like, yes.
That's awesome.
That
I love like Lex Luthor, the businessman. Never really cared much for him until I had watched Superman the movie for the first time like 10 years ago or something. And like as campy as he is, like Gene Hackman was so on point with it,
Yeah.
And then right now we have him in Tom King's Human Target. He was great in that first issue. I love him in the Superman, the movie comic that's going on right now, Superman 78. And he's just such a cool character when they write him as like that genius business guy. I don't really like Power Suit Lex when he's like trying to go hand to hand.
Yeah, he's flying through space and choo-chooing people.
Yeah, that stuff's all like dumb. But like whenever you write Lex Luthor as just like a businessman trying to outsmart the world, I love him. He's so good.
Yeah, that's a depth character there. Yeah,
We've seen him like that in 2 books this week. 2 books.
Oh yeah.
Did you read Suicide Squad? Because this is not the other one you see Lex Luthor in.
No, I haven't read that one either.
I missed that one. Tell us about it.
It was the wrap-up of them going to Oa, and it was really the origin of Culebra. Like, you get... Nice. It's real deep on that character, her backstory as a child with the horrible upbringing and everything, and it was just them getting away, them escaping. That's all it was. It was an escape book. They managed to get their ship back and get on it and get the hell out of Dodge. And in the midst of that small plot progressing aspect, you got a lot of backstory on her and why she's awesome. And then you see, most importantly to me, the last panel, well, it was a full page splash. The last page, you see Rick with his team locked and loaded and rolling out. I'm like, yes, yes.
How was Ambush Bug in this issue?
Not overbearing, just barely
Awesome.
there. Yeah. So again, this writer shows that he knows what he's doing. That last issue, they were tapering him off, and they're not just turning this into the Ambush Bug comedy hour. Major Force actually turns out to be the right guy for the job here. He pulls it off, getting what they needed to get, the component they needed. It was good. They got the part they needed. We find out that the vampire girl has got the hots for Match, and they kind of just hang out because there was a good moment where they thought that they were going to die, and they got to the person that they were trying to get to. What she wanted was this device that can get them into a room that they needed to get to. Like who would possibly be in the science cell? So they were breaking into the science cells to get a person out. And to get that person out, they had to break into one place to get a scientist, to make a device that can get them into the science cells. So that's awesome. And when they get there and to the science cells, they told Culebra, like, you're going to kind of die and just let her spirit lead you kind of thing, which was cool because with this Lazarus resin stuff, like you can just time out and die if you don't take it soon enough. But as she's going, she's like, how the hell do I know who I'm supposed to be looking for? What could I possibly see? And these are the science cells for the Green Lantern Corps. So who do we find? It's about to get real, my dude. Black Hand is back.
Oh, nice.
So it's about to get real. So they get him out of there with no fanfare or anything. And we got Rick Flag in a submarine on the way to raise some hell. You know what I'm saying? # raise the flag.
Nice.
Let's go. I'm ready to get that Suicide Squad versus Suicide Squad, where both teams lose and us, the readers, are the winners.
That's right.
We got DJ Links up in the chat. What is going on, man? Another person I greatly missed the chance I've actually met in person. Just want to tickle his beard.
Dude, he's fun as all get out. His wife is funnier though.
Nice. Mrs. Links.
Mrs. Links.
Mrs. Links.
She's a riot. I'm joking. They're both wonderful people. Did you pick up anything, Ryan? You haven't talked about anything.
No, we pretty much talked about everything that I read this week.
So I learned not to fall for the Alex Ross covers. Gorgeous cover, but Cantwell and Cantwell's been writing Iron Man, and who's been writing Cap?
That guy I hate, Carmelita Coates.
Yeah, Coates. Like two writers that I'm not touching their stuff anymore.
All right, so this is weighing heavily onto a storyline that I have not read yet, and it's weighing on this particular woman who's kind of a bad guy, but it's kind of weirdly moral at the same point. It's not bad. It's just confusing. It's relying so much onto this other story here that they're not explaining. Readers like me that are like, hey, I just want a good Captain America story, not written by Coates. So,
who wrote it?
This one was written by Landy.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know. The artwork's cool in it, and it seems like it should be a good story. But they do this thing where we run into some superhero / villains. I don't know what they are, but they're from the 50 State Project. I don't know if that means anything to anybody. And there's like a 51 of them, and he's actually an alien.
I'm a big fan of the Level 48, but you lose me with the other two.
Yeah, right. It just kind of like it seemed like there was a good story there, but if you haven't been reading, it was Iron Man storyline. If you haven't been reading the Iron Man storyline,
I stopped reading it because of the storyline.
Because it was all sad and stupid, right? I think it's from there, and it's garbage. It's a garbage story. Yeah, it is what it is. But I'm just happy to kind of see superheroes doing, action shit and not being lectured to power. So,
yeah, the Iron Man run from Cantwell, I held in there for a while. I don't drop stuff quick, but they were dragging out that Korvac thing like 16 issues in, and they're still dragging out the same first story arc, and it was just
Like, it doesn't
16
matter.
issues without any like resolving anything or making major arcs and stuff. And the artwork in it was pretty decent. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, their artwork's good. In
Almost
here,
like
too.
painted art, you know. It wasn't painted, but it was almost reminiscent of painted art stuff. And they even pulled in like Frogman and Scarlet Spider and a couple other B and C listers for a ragtag team. And I was like, yes, I love ragtag teams.
Yeah.
But then they didn't do anything. They're just literally hanging
Yeah,
out.
they just kind of showed up. And this 50 state project thing, that's kind of what they look like. They're all like stereotypes of a state, if you will. Right? And it's
So somebody showed up in like a peach outfit with her.
no, like one guy, the one from Oklahoma looks like little Annie Oakley, you know, with the gun. She's got a little,
Like a bomber.
yeah, right. It's weird, but I'm gonna chase this shit show too, because I love me a shit show because it gives me content for my channel. But
yeah, I don't know. I thought that was just a one shot. Is that going to continue to be a tag team book there?
it's got to be. It's got to continue on the way they ended the story. It wouldn't make
You
any
think
sense.
they'll
But then
continue on in
again,
their respective books? Continue on in
no, I
Captain?
think this is gonna go. I think we're getting old school. You know, Captain America, Iron Man back, in
Well, I
some
might
level.
in hopes that it goes somewhere. Give it a shot. If I hear it gets any better or something, I might just read it digital and see if I like it. Because, dude, I was so excited for that Iron Man run. Because again, I love these Marvel characters. You don't see me picking up a lot of Marvel books. I love the characters. I hate where they're being written right now. It's just not appealing. And I miss reading Captain America. I miss reading Iron Man. So when they're starting Iron Man over at #1 and getting back to the nuts and bolts of the characters and stripping away all the tech stuff, and they're giving it the Immortal Hulk formula where you just strip him down. He's just gone too overboard, and let's just take it back to the bare essentials and write from there. But then they completely missed it. They completely missed the boat. They even bring in Alex Ross to do the covers because Ross is the boss, and but still.
Yeah, these are not. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I would love to be able to read an X-Men book again.
X-Men needs a hard reset before I even attempt. 37 titles a week dropping, and it's just even Devil's Reign reminded me why I don't want to read X-Men books right now. The one panel that you get a mutant Storm making a statement, Krakoa, we of Krakoa are deemed diplomatic immunity, so don't
And we can go wherever we want.
Yeah, don't want none, won't be none. Ignore just.
Oh man, this is why I hate people.
I've got one more book I picked up. How many more you got in your stack, Joe?
I got 4, but I got 5 actually, and 3 of them I'm just gonna tell you are garbage. So really,
Go for it. What 3 were garbage?
All right, Lunar Room, and I know some independent specker out there is gonna be like, "No, it's great," because you're a moron. Look, this is poorly written. No, I don't understand. Like, if a story needs to be explained, then the author failed. Right? Just keep that in your head. So in this, we get some kid, he gets some shard from a magical sword from a magical school that we don't have no basis of whatsoever. Apparently there was a girl that was a werewolf, but she's not anymore, but they didn't explain that to her. And he can give her powers to make like one arm of her back to a werewolf. That happened in here. I'm not making this shit up. And apparently there's an underground magical monster fight club thing too. So really all we're doing is we're just hitting like big time tropes and we're just fishing for somebody to read this, right? And the truth is it's just poorly written. It doesn't make any sense. The dialogue's off. There's 2 different narrations going off on it, and I didn't realize that till the last page.
There were 2 reveals of different characters, and you're like, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah. Crimson Tide, this is about a 50-50 for me. If you like, like trailer park wrestling and voodoo stuff in Louisiana and probably beer in a can, you'll probably like this.
That's a heck of an alignment of interests. Not niche at all.
I hate to say it, but it looks like I'm going to be dropping Soul Plumber because this is just getting stupid at this point. We're just cussing the cuss. We're just We're poking fun at religion, which I'm okay with. I'm not like some overly religious cat, but now we're just saying stupid things about religion, and I'm just like, I think I'm done with this.
Yeah,
So,
when that happens, I'm not a defender of religion, but when I hear stuff like that, I want to start challenging their ideals. Like, if I'm able to do it, I get frustrated. I'm like,
the only other 2 books I got was Batman and this dumpster. This really
Amazing Fantasies, I've heard, is going way downhill.
Oh, so this is the last issue.
Is it?
Or the story arc, yeah. And
so this is the bottom of the hill,
like some kind of weird purgatory, but it doesn't make any sense because if you go back and look at the story, it doesn't play out that way. Why would it end that way? Like, it didn't make any sense whatsoever what they did in the end here, and everybody's actually okay, and they just hit a reset button, and everything started over again.
All for nothing.
Yeah, you read a story just so it could happen. It's like, I hate the movie Groundhog's Day because I hate repetitive nature in a movie. It annoys me, and that's basically what you just did. You just annoyed me. You gave me a good book, you gave me a good story, and then you were like, psych, bitch, got your money, and you rolled out on me. And
so where were you at on it before that?
Huh?
Where were you at on it before the ending?
Right there at the beginning. I was really digging it, and then I would say right around issue 4, and all of a sudden I was like, "Did you not read your own story? That things aren't lining up." Like, all of a sudden,
sucks.
Like characters are meeting each other for the first time, but we already knew that they already knew each other and existed, that they exist in some sort of universe together. But now all of a sudden they're like, "I don't know who Captain America is," and I'm like, "What?"
That's tough.
Yeah. And Batman's about 50-50 for me. I don't know how I feel about this whole Batman Inc. thing, but we're bringing in Lex. We're bringing in my favorite villains. So
this was like a hard call to not be my pick of the week.
Yeah.
Batman's back. Oh my God. I slept with this book in my bed the last 3 nights after it came out. Like, I was so excited. It reminded me how bad Tynan's run was.
Yeah.
Like, all right, real quick. I'm going to give you the quick spiel for it. It started off with a celebration, the city celebrating surviving the Fear State. But what's really happening is Williamson is letting us fans celebrate the return of Batman.
Yeah.
Because that's what we get to. Right off the bat, he makes sure to plant iconic imagery and symbolism that makes Batman Batman. I've mentioned it before. The Gotham has been unrecognizable. The Tron Legacy-inspired Neon Fever Dream era that Tynan brought in was just garbage.
It's a great analogy.
It is. And what Williamson does right off the bat is give us petty thieves trying to break into a building during fireworks happening because everyone's looking up instead of watching them, except one man who's standing on the corner of a building in the pose from that B cover pretty much that was going around. So it even made that Spider-Man 1 homage relevant to the story. Because he's perched up on the corner of a building looking down at them, but he's silhouetted by the light in the night sky where they're having a conversation. Is that Batman? No way, man. That's just one of the gargoyles. They put them all around the city. It's just for the superstitious people. And you, the reader, are looking at it wondering, is it Batman? Like, is he busy? And then, like, the light flashes and there he is, and they're like, oh, we're out of here. And they run to the cops, because like that's that fear element that he's supposed to bring to people of that caliber. And then, like, fast forward a couple of pages, he's talking to Oracle. She's like, well, what are you about to do? Don't go dark. Don't go introvert. You have this network. We're here for you. And it flashes to some iconic images. It really shows you, like, the heartfelt stuff, with, like, pictures of him with each of the Bat family people for a second while Oracle's talking in his ear. But then you see these news reports roll in on the blimps, the iconic blimps from Batman the Animated Series that makes Gotham recognizable. You can just hand this book to somebody, take Batman out of the panel, and know it's Gotham. It's a very recognizable city. And on those blimps, you see where the Batman Inc. has been arrested. So it is not a Batman Inc. story. We're not getting back into all that necessarily. It's a murder mystery. They killed somebody and turned themselves in, and he feels like he's on the hook for it, that he needs to at least go see what's going on. He hasn't been backing or associated with these people at all in a long time. So he goes overseas to try to make some sense of what's happening, to find out that Lex Luthor's been backing him. So this was the other big rollout of Lex Luthor. And it was that new character Abyss that was terrorizing Europe over there. I think he was over in Europe somewhere. and they killed Abyss and then turned themselves in over it. So he's feeling that they were motivated to do it. I don't think Abyss is dead, for one, but I thought that was a cool angle, and to get away from Gotham is needed. Give us some space, give us some time to heal, because we, the readers, are the true victims of Fear State. It was horrible, but everything about Batman, from making him a detective again, letting him gallivant around and show he's got a little bit of money, like, let's quit pretending he's really broke like he is. The blimps, the petty thieves. It was just,
yeah. I feel so bad when a billionaire only becomes a millionaire.
Exactly. What is going on, Steven? See, my dude, he picked up some John Jane goodness at C2E2.
Yes, he did.
Signed and remarked, and one of the books he got signed and it got remarked Jane Gang. The other Ice Cream Man book, he got it signed and Jane wrote "We Are Legion" on it. That made my day seeing that, dude. That was phenomenal.
Yeah, that was cool.
Jim Rugg from Cartoonist Kayfabe,
yeah,
is doing what Ed Piskor did with X-Men and Tom Scioli did with Fantastic Four. It's 2 issues that cover 500 issues of Hulk history. First one goes from 1 to 300.
Huh.
He said that that's what the Hulk Grand Design announcement. I'm not following.
they do. It started with X-Men. They did it's basically like a history piece that kind of like gives you the highlights from like their whole like history, so you can kind of like be like caught up, and so now they're gonna do a Hulk one.
Yeah, the grand design. Yeah, kind of like what they did with the life story. They're just gonna shrink it. Yeah, I remember the grand design stuff. I don't know if I liked those or not, to be honest with you.
They're unnecessary for some, but very helpful for others.
If you're somebody that wants the old school comics and you can't find or maybe you want to know what a good Hulk story looks like. Yeah.
Read Immortal Hulk. I was so happy with that series. Of course, any series has its ups and downs. That one is going in the history books as one of the greatest Hulk runs ever written.
So. Yeah, I enjoyed a lot of it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of on board with Spaceship Hulk.
Why is he doing this? No, I'm definitely picking up Starship Hulk. It's the dumbest thing that I've ever heard of, but
I love it because it's a metaphor.
Oh God.
Yeah, true power, son. Hashtag true power.
I'm still at this point. I'm convinced that Donny Cates is just a what if writer that forgot he's doing continuity books. So I'm just taking.
I think he's actually trying to read. I think he's trying to write a deep story where you kind of deal with the 3 things that make up a person, right? The shell, right? The intellectual mind, and the emotional, right? It's very Darwinian, but and he's just showing you that your brain, if your brain is delusional, it affects the shell, and then the passions and emotions are what drive it. So he's making a spaceship out of Hulk, but he's using it as a metaphor, as a shell of oneself. If I'm wrong on that, I don't give a shit. That sounded good. I'm rolling with it.
Yeah. It's a good theory. It's a good hypothesis for now. Yeah, I'm hoping that it goes good. I'm mixed bag over that first issue. It was fun seeing him fight, but that I just think it was too hard of a direction.
I want to see the mad scientist Bruce Banner. I want to see the mad scientist Bruce Banner. Right?
He's mad scientist before. This isn't. I mean, it's been a while, but
yeah, I want to see what that would look like now. Apparently, Cyborg Hulk is going to be a thing.
Cyborg Space Hulk, Starship Hulk. Let's see if this is still in here. I doubt it is. Oh yeah, it is. I don't know if you're here for this one, but which one's better, the Starship Hulk or the Pocket Strange? Because in the death of Doctor Strange, we're dealing with hashtag Pocket Strange. Or the Pocket
Strange. That sounds like something very different.
Yeah. The Pocket Strange is when it's not your own pocket.
Sounds like some prison term. Yo, man.
Yeah. Hold my pocket.
You're my new Pocket Strange. What is it? What do you think about that?
It takes 30 years of Hulk history and condenses it in on 2 issues. First one is due in March, and it's called Monster, and the second one is called Madness and is out in April, and I'll be picking both of those up as a Hulk collector. Yeah. Definitely on board for Batman. Now I'm super excited for the Detective Comics next issue, where we're getting into the Shadow of the Bat storyline, where they're about to have some of the most beautiful covers that you've seen on Batman comics in your lifetime, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. It's turning it into a one issue a month, not for ongoing for a long time, but just to get out the Shadow of the Bat story, and I'm sure that's just to align things so that the series moving forward will be together. Joshua Williamson is not writing the detective. Mariko Tamaki still is, but he is writing Batman now, which is awesome because we know that he's like one of the major architects for DC's Omniverse stuff that they've been working on with how their current universe is structured and what it'll look like moving forward, as well as what I get excited for, big cosmic events, which we haven't had in a while. Death Metal was a big cosmic event, but it's kind of its own thing at the same time. I know it was like very relevant to overall DC continuity, but it's still not like Crisis or, like this or that. It's very much its own thing where it gets started and it really doesn't have much lead in. Like I remember playing Connect the Dots with the continuity to get to Death Metal. I'm like, you got to read Hell Arisen 1 through 4, then you have to read these issues in Justice League, then hop over here and read this, but make sure you read Flash Forward. And then it was just, I'm ready for there to be this, how the continuity is getting built now to an event that affects everybody. And damn it, where's the JSA? We've been teased with the JSA coming out since Infinite Frontier started. We've gotten little pieces of them here and there, but that Stargirl special showed us that the JSA is coming. They are on the way, hot and heavy. And Jeff Johns wrote that, so hopefully, fingers crossed, if dreams come true, Jeff Johns will give us another Justice Society run. My God, that would be epic.
That would be fun. That would be a good read. I would definitely pick that up.
I'm with Kyle. I think Kate's just trolling us all. I don't think he went to that class in school that you went to, Joe. What's up, Tapia? How are you doing tonight? Thank you, Marge. Some more JSA love. Yeah, that Stargirl summer special was a one-shot. And some people might be like, that Stargirl one-shot. Dude, it was fantastic. It was so good. There was a couple moments where I had to drop the book and throw my hands up. It was so good.
Promiscuous Time Traveler really loved that Crimson Cage book.
Joe just me and Ryan haven't read that one, but Joe was not impressed with it. Remember that nightmares are dreams too, Mark. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, I need to pump the brakes. What is going on, Austin? Once again, another community member that I'm sorely sad that I didn't get a chance to meet in person, but maybe one day, man.
To hang out with.
Yeah, maybe one day. Nick did show me that beautiful piece you did for him on that book that I'm not going to spoil for Nick. And I'm getting so many pictures from people of Jang signings and remarks as well. Nick got both 2 books that he was hoping that he would find. He found them both and got them both signed and remarked. So be sure to check out a lot of these people's Instagram and pages. There's going to be some cool stuff coming. It was probably about 10 minutes ago, Kyle, at most. Yeah. So it's rolled after 11 o'clock here, so I'm going to start wrapping it up. Be sure to follow Ryan over on Instagram at New Guy Cosmic Campfire over on YouTube. Not really pumping a lot of stuff out lately. Been a busy guy, but it will return. You can also follow him on Patreon if you want to keep up with all the stuff in one location. I do that. And be sure to check out Pocan Joe as well as his second YouTube page called Evil Lair Projects and Builds, where he blows shit up.
Half the time it's my temper, but yeah.
So tomorrow I'll have a Chris. I don't know why anyone's ever thought of this. I cracked myself up for 30 minutes with this, and I was just laughing so much that even my wife thought I was losing my mind. But the word holiday, I'm releasing a video tomorrow called Comic Holiday.
Wow.
HAULIDA, holiday, right?
Mm-hmm.
What? I don't know why I think that's so funny. There's an awesome thumbnail for it too. It's a great thumbnail. But Wednesday I'm going to be doing a comic close up on the Vigilante that'll be coming out. I'll try to go live Tuesday if I get a chance to. No promises. Then I'm gonna. Golly, I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be able to do the Friday morning hangouts. I know I'm going to be missing at least one of them coming up. Maybe. Depends on how things go. It might just be in the afternoon. Who knows? A lot of playing it by ear these days.
Yep.
Now
You hit that notification bell, you'll never miss a second of goodness.
That's a good point. But I appreciate everybody hopping in tonight. Let me say thank you real quick to all the channel members. I appreciate each and every one of you. And we just got a new channel member this week, so I do need to update this. Which one did I put it on? I think I put it on that one. So let me put that one here. Thank you to all the channel members out there. Let me see if this is the right one. I'm trying to get this new updated one in here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. And there it is. We just got Sagnik Singh in there and the channel members as well. He's always in the live stream on Tuesdays for the DC, new DC Day one. Big DC fan. Very happy that he joined. And yeah, until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.